Thank you, Chris. It's good to be here today. I drove down from Kittigon-Zibi this morning. Saw some hawk flew across the windshield of my car. Just swooped down and back up again. That was a beautiful sight for me. It was like something of reassurance, and because the hawk was so healthy, and a hawk needs trees, and human beings need trees too. That's the thing about it, as human beings, we should be protective of trees. We should express our admiration and respect and honor for trees every day. We should be committed to protecting trees because a tree can't run away and it can't fly away when there's danger of its life coming to an abrupt end. They really are at the mercy of somebody with a chainsaw or an axe. I know that for me as an Algonquin, and I think about how the first industry in Ottawa was the timber industry, and I know that I would have never been involved with that. Like I could not harm a tree. I really can't. It's just not in me to do it. I don't care what the pay is or what. I've got a cabin at Biddiby Lake at Kittigon-Zibi, and there's an oak tree there, and I was told that the oak tree is a couple of 100 years old, and a guy that knows wood, because it's about 100 feet tall, and it's huge and it's straight, and there's only branches up at the top of it. And this guy was visiting one day, and he said, "Did you know that tree is probably worth about $3,000, he said. And I said to him, I wouldn't take $300,000 for it. There's no amount of money that I would take to sell that tree, because every time I do ceremony, I always acknowledge the spirit of that tree. It's important to me that, because I believe it does have a spirit, and that and whenever I put tobacco on the land, I always acknowledge that oak tree. All the other trees too, but the oak is probably the oldest tree that's there, and the most, they're all magnificent, but it really stands out, for people canoeing on the lake or fishing or whatever they're doing out there, they see that oak tree. I want to tell you about how it is that my respect for trees began. Back in the early 1990s, I had a friend, an Assiniboine First Nations man from southern Saskatchewan who was living in Ottawa. And he said that the concrete jungle, the pavement and, fire trucks and road rage and all this stuff, he said he'd had his fill of it, and he said he needed to do a ceremony, and he asked me if I would go with him to do a ceremony. There's that bird, it's, I don't know what kind of bird it is, but it's an Oreo, eh?
Baltimore
what?
Baltimore Oriole.
Yeah. That's what we thought it was, but
Beautiful.
But it's been singing here all morning, and that is really special, please accept that as this bird is acknowledging everybody that's here. Really, that's a fact. Anyway, we're stealing the show.
He's a better singer, Albert.
Yeah. That's right. So crooning some songs here. But so my friend, he wanted to do a ceremony. So we drove up from Ottawa to Kittigon-Zibi, and it was in the winter time, and we parked the car near where there was a snowmobile trail. And because it was a snowmobile trail, the snow was packed solid, and we walked on the trail, and I followed behind him, and because it was his ceremony, I was just there to support it, and wherever he wanted to do it was going to be okay with me. So we walked in the forest maybe about 3 kilometers or so, and I was looking for a bird, you know, whether it was a blue jay or maybe a squirrel or a rabbit or a deer or something. I was looking for some kind of life because I want to be able to say that the ceremony was also going to be supported by by an animal or a bird, you know, something with a heart and something with lungs and something with eyes. Anyway, we got to a place and we went off the trail, and that friend of mine said to me, he said, I want you to gather up some wood because I want to make a fire, and I'm going to get the things of my ceremony ready here. So I'm gathering up some kindling, and I'm looking around because I'm trying to see, still trying to see a bird or something, and there was nothing. But then I thought I saw a raccoon, and I said, oh, finally it's a raccoon. But then it was just like a stump that was decaying, and it looked just like a raccoon, but it was wood, eh? And then it hit me. The trees are saying, hey, what about us? We're alive. We have spirit too. Bring us into your ceremony too.
Nice.
And it hit me, you know. And at that moment, Albert Dumont fell in love with trees, honestly. And I've got such great respect for trees ever since. And that's never going to change. I want to say this about, you know, about trees and the forest is. My mother used to say that the gentle rattle, the gentle song of the poplar tree could lull her to sleep. I know if anybody have ever heard, if you've heard the poplar leaves, you know how they make that gentle rattle. It's so comforting and soothing. And I remember my dad saying one time, he said if you're going to go into a strange forest, and you've never been in that forest before, and if you're going in to get medicine, if you're going in to pick berries, or if you're going in to hunt, he said, you go in, and after walking in several hundred feet, you turn around and you take notice of a landmark. You know, whether it's a big pine tree or a big boulder coming out of the ground, or whatever it is that you'll see, and you take note of it, then you keep going. After a few hundred feet, you turn around and you take note of another landmark, and then you keep going. And after you've been in the forest for whatever it is that you've gone there for, and you're coming out, he said you look for the landmarks that you took note of, so you'll be able to find your way out. And he was just telling me something of common sense so that you don't get lost in a forest. But for me, the way I look at that wisdom of my dad, I see that me and you, everybody here, they should turn around every now and then to see what they've been up to. Is there something that they broke? Is there something they need to apologize for? Is there something where they failed in protecting something of the land or fixing things in the family? A city like Ottawa should turn around every now and then. The province of Ontario should turn around every now and then. Canada should turn around every now and then and see what they were up to and see if there's something that they need to fix. To me, it's just a sensible thing to do. And because if you don't turn around every now and then, you're going to get lost. And I think that's probably what happened with the Indian Act. Nobody was turning around. They just went ahead. I want to say this too about land acknowledgement, because I got a feeling sometimes that some people they don't get it, you know, about the land acknowledgement. They say, well, what do you mean it's Algonquin land? I own my land. It's not the Algonquins that own it, it's me. But it's on unceded Algonquin territory. See, the thing about the Algonquins, right? We see our territory as our house. A house with many rooms. And just like your house, if you're a homeowner, you don't want somebody coming into your house and going in there as if they own your house. You know, imagine sitting in your house one day and the front door opens and this guy walks in, goes up to your fridge, grabs a brewski and goes and sits down in front of your couch and turns on your TV set without acknowledging you. That wouldn't be right. That would be disrespectful. That would get you pissed off. Well, the same thing with the Algonquins. You know, people come into our house. We've never given it up. We never sold it. We never surrendered it to nobody. The Algonquins still have stewardship over this territory. We know that nobody's ever going to give it back, but at least acknowledge it, that it was ours. You know, it doesn't cost anybody anything to do it. Just do it. It's you know, something of respect. I don't know, to me, if people have a problem with that, it just goes to really show how racist some people are in their hearts. They don't even know that they're racist, but that, to me, is a racist action. I'm going to go in a minute there, but I just want to say something first about, you look on the ground here, there's some strawberry blossoms. And I remember at Chaudière Falls, and to the Algonquins it's known as Kikojuan. And I remember being there with a developer. And the developer was asking for my support for condos to be built at that sacred site. And I don't know about anybody here, but I know this. This world doesn't need more condos. This world needs more sacred sites to be revived. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes.
And I told that developer that I would never support condos being built at that sacred place. And he said to me, did you know that the soil here is so contaminated that it's going to cost millions of dollars to have the contamination removed from it? And he said that was going to be at the cost of the developer. And I pointed to the strawberry blossoms on the ground and I said, you see those strawberry blossoms? And he looked and he goes, oh, I hadn't noticed them before. And I said, you know what those strawberry blossoms are telling us? They're telling us that the land will heal itself. We just got to leave it alone and revive ceremony and bring in the spirit again. Because to me, that's a fact. And I don't know if you remember, but the city of Ottawa paid, I don't know, what was it, $600,000 or something that they gave the taxpayers of Ottawa had to pay that to help decontaminate the soil there where condos are today. Myself and a handful of other Indigenous people fought development and we lost. The so-called almighty dollar won, and there's condos there today. And that's the world we live in. We need more dedicated people like yourselves. We need to pull out all the stops, because I don't know how many people in this place right now have children and grandchildren, but we need to worry about our grandchildren whenever they become our age, and our grandchildren's grandchildren, and what's going to be left for them if we don't do something about it. Like, I mean, it's serious stuff here we're talking about. It can't be any more serious than that. The health of trees. That's how we see it. Anyways, I'll talk to you some more later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Albert, for being here. Albert will be delivering some poetry and telling some stories on one of these stages here today, and also talking a little more about trees for you that will be interested in hearing that. And Velvet has some activities. Where did you go, Velvet? So it has some activities for kids. All we need is some kids, but everybody's a kid at heart, so feel free to explore that area over there. Velvet has all kinds of wonderful things. Paul is here. He's going to sing some Gordon Lightfoot songs. Jay is here. Jay is going to deliver some poems that she created. Andrea is here. Andrea is going to introduce you to the world of trees in a special way, being a certified forest therapist, as you are. And we're very happy that Nathaniel is here capturing the action here today. And partly because this is a pretty simple idea. Let's get together in the park and celebrate trees and nature and one another. That's a pretty basic concept. And here we are, it's happening. And so the idea is maybe there are some other people out there in other communities that would like to do something similar. And so this is what you do. Get some people together and celebrate. As somebody said to me, actually one of the other people that is in Nova Scotia right now, Lori, but who helped with a lot of this organizing, we have to do this every once in a while to remind ourselves what it is that we're fighting for. And that was such a good talk from Albert just now, reminding us of what it is and why it's so important. Joan Harrison is here. She's going to be playing the cello somewhere under a tree. And lots of other excellent individuals. Whoever I'm forgetting, I do apologize right now. So let's go have a festival, everybody. Come on, let's have fun.